average Animorph book can get kind of dark sometimes. This series deals with themes like the horrors of war. But the great thing about the Animorphs books is this is usually counterbalanced with lots of jokes and levity and fun times for kids. However, book 30 is like 80% Marco having a nervous breakdown. And on one hand, this book is beautiful because it's so different tonally than other Animorph books, but also it's just kind of really sad to read because there isn't a lot of fun times in this book. Marco's usual defense mechanism is to tell jokes, that you can see him doing this when it's his point of view or when it's not his point of view. And this book, the jokes start out pretty normal, and then they quickly go down and down and down and down and down until Marco really isn't even telling jokes anymore because he's just so stressed out about this terrible situation. His mom has been taken by the Yeerks and is now Visser I, the leader of the invasion of Earth. In the very beginning of the series, Marco didn't want to be an Animorph. And then, when he discovered that his mom had been taken by the Yeerks, he decided that he was going to fight the Yeerks in order to save his mom, and that was his motivation and why he joined the team. Then, throughout the series, he decided, wait a minute, I actually want to help save the world. And he got on board, not just to save his mom, but to save everyone. And now, his mom comes back, Visser I's in town, and Marco has two motivations for being an Animorph now. One, to actually save the world, and the other, to actually save his mom. And in this book, he can't do both. Because the Animorphs are fighting his mom in order to save the world. And Marco is the one who comes up with the plan that will kill his mother. Understandably, Marco is not doing well mentally in this book, and Marco can kind of see it. But he tells himself, no, I'm fine, it's fine, like, everything's fine. But then you, as the reader, seeing his narration, seeing what he's doing, seeing the lack of jokes, like, you know that it's not fine. The feels are so strong in this book because you feel for Marco. You see, he is not doing fine! But then he keeps pushing himself forward and forward and forward, and the only thing he clings to is the ruthlessness. That he thinks that this end of saving the world justifies the means, even if I have to go through my mom to do it. And that really kind of crushes him inside, because he's got the two things he wants to save, the world and his mom, and they're coming head to head. He doesn't know what to do about it. And then this is further complicated because Marco feels like the other Animorphs are having two negative reactions to him. One, they're pitying him because they feel sorry that his mom is now a supervillain. Understandable, right? And Marco really doesn't like that. He doesn't like feeling weak, and he doesn't like his friends pitying him. And connected to that, he feels like his friends don't trust him. That his friends are saying, hey, maybe you should, sit this mission out? Because the other Animorphs can see that Marco is not doing well emotionally or mentally in this book, and they know that he shouldn't have to make this decision between his mom and the world. But Marco wants to be strong. He wants to be so strong and so ruthless and so willing to do the job that he's willing to go right through his own mother to do it. Because Marco wants to be the person who saves the world. Not because he wants to be seen as a hero by everyone, because he knows that this thing he's doing, killing his own mother, is not a very heroic thing. And there's this terribly, wonderfully feels-filled scene where Marco is lying awake at night and just thinking about how terrible the thing is he's going to do. I lay in my bed, in the dark. Every few minutes I check the glowing numbers of the clock. 3:15, 3:42, 4:09. I wanted to sleep. Needed to sleep. Couldn't. Ever have one of those nights where you're exhausted, where you'd pay anything just to fall asleep, but the wheels in your head just keep spinning and spinning and spinning? Imagined conversations, me talking, explaining, arguing, changing the words around, repeating them, rehearsing them around and around in circles. Me talking to Jake, an imaginary Jake, explaining with perfect logic. Me talking to my dad in some fictional future, some non-existent world where things were different and I could at least tell all the secrets I'd guarded with my life. Me talking to my mom, raging, explaining to my mom, as my real mom, why I had to do it. Me explaining to my mom as Visser I, laughing, chortling, savoring my victory over her. This is how I defeated you, I crowed. This is how I saved you, I explained. No choice, no choice. I had to do it. Dad, you understand, right? What else was I going to do? Too much on the line. I had responsibilities. You know that is, right? And besides, she was already dead to you. You'd already grieved, remember? You'd spent years just sitting in your chair, staring blankly, your life falling apart. See, Jake? Don't ever doubt me again. I did it, okay? I put the mission first. I saw the big picture. So don't ever doubt me again, because I did what had to be done. Mom, what was I supposed to do? I saw all the plays. I saw all the pieces on the chessboard. There was no solution that freed you. There were only solutions that destroyed you. I had to. How else? How else to? Die, you yerk piece of crap. Wither and die, and remember with your last dying thought, it was for her. I killed you for her. For Jake. For my dad. For... Around and around as the hours ticked by, as exhaustion sank deep into my bones. Someday, if we won, if humanity survived, we'd be in the history books. Me and Jake and Rachel and Cassie and Tobias and Axe. They'd be household names like generals from World War II or the Civil War. Kids would study in school. Bored, probably. And the leader would tell the story of Marco and be part of history, what I was about to do. Some kid would laugh. Some kid would say, "Cold, man. That was really cold." I had to do it, kid. It was a war. It's the whole point, you stupid, smug, smirking little jerk. Don't you get it? It was the whole point. We hurt the innocent in order to stop the evil. Innocent Hork-Bajir, innocent Taxons, innocent human controllers. How else to stop the Yeerks? How else to win? No choice, you punk. We did what we had to do. Cold, man. The Marco dude? He was just cold. My heart aches for Marco, because you can see that he's doing this. He's trying to be ruthless for the other Animorphs, especially for Jake, because he wants to prove it to them that he is willing to go all the way for this team. He's willing to go all the way to save the world, even if that means over his own family, even if that means that history will hate him. And you want so badly for there to be a good note at the end of this book. You want the Animorphs to win and his mom to be freed and everything, but that's not what happens. What happens is, even as the plan is crumbling around him, even as he thinks for a little bit that Jake and Cassie are dead, Marco is going through with the plan because this is all he has left to hold on to. Everything else around him is crumbled. And he's on top of a mountain. This is a little bit of a weird set piece, but it works dramatically. So he's on top of a mountain, and he's going to push his mother off the mountain, and he is ready to do it. And then Jake jumps out as a tiger and pushes him out of the way and holds him down so that Marco doesn't kill his own mother, and his mother gets away. But Marco is so conflicted about this because even in the end, he doesn't quite know if he would have gone through with it. He thinks that he probably wouldn't have, but maybe he would have. He was about to do it, and everything is so much feels that there is no victory. They don't get a victory over the Yeerks. And Marco doesn't get a victory in himself because he still doesn't know really what was the right decision here. So maybe you'd think that this is a book with the theme of you have to go all the way and do whatever you can to save the world. But it's not really a book about that. And it's not a book either about you should protect your family and save them even if it means costing the world. In the end of the book, Marco is distraught. And Rachel comes to him and he asks Rachel, what are you supposed to do? What decision was I supposed to make here? And Rachel tells him, it's okay not to choose. It's okay that Jake took that choice from you. You can just take this war one battle at a time, and you don't have to have the whole plan. You don't have to be the mastermind. You don't have to have everything figured out. Because the message of this book isn't a particular moral stance. It's that sometimes it's okay not to have a stance, and it's okay not to have everything figured out, and it's okay just to be a kid a little bit. There's still this intergalactic war, but it's okay not to have all the answers. I enjoyed reading this book from a literary fun time standpoint, but not from a fun time standpoint, because it's really sad that it's just kind of 80% mental breakdown. But in the end, it does have a nice message where Marco is able to let go of some of his angst, even if he hasn't found a conclusion for it.